Warning, this video contains images of scary dolls found in rubbish piles put outside of homes. Viewer discretion is highly advised. But if you like seeing some amazing junk found on the side of the road, this video is for you. Well, hi there, let's do one of those videos where I go around looking for Dyson vacuum cleaners in the rubbish piles that are put out in front of homes in the suburb where I live in Sydney. I say the Dysons are pretty hard to find, but I found a DC01, I found a DC05. Will I find another one? There's 2 times rubbish is picked up in the area of Sydney where I am. There's a wintertime pickup and there's a summertime pickup. This time I'm looking around during the summertime pickup, but there's been heaps of rain this year and that's why I've got a raincoat on, and I'll probably do this over a couple of days if I remember to go out and look. Let's do it. Okay, well, I see a vacuum cleaner. Initially, when I looked at this, I thought, wow, it could be a Dyson, but I don't think it is. What is it? A Genius 2400 bagless. The head looks pretty knocked around in this one. I'd say this one's been through a home renovation for the fact it looks like it's got, I don't know, plaster dust and stuff through there. Yeah, it's got an IKEA thing there, but I think that's nothing to do with the vacuum cleaner. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she's an ugly one, all right. That's the info on this one. I think it's just a generic, you know, bagless vacuum cleaner. And that's the bad weather that I'm up against. We've had horrendous amounts of rain at the beginning of summer this year. You know, sometimes you see the strangest thing when you go out and look at rubbish piles. Who would have ever thought I would find Elmo and Cookie Monster on a table out in the rubbish pile? Oh yeah, what a classic. It looks like some sort of Bert and Ernie thing going on here. Weren't they a pair of guys that they had to sort of disband? Well, foolish me, here I am walking in the rain. It started to rain, I thought it was going to rain, but nevertheless I'm still out looking for that elusive Dyson. The one that I really want to get is the DC07. That's when the cyclonic blah blah happened in Dysons, and that's the one I really want to have a look at. I know someone who's got one, but they won't let it go no matter how much money I offer them. They want to keep the DC07. I just seen something over there. It's actually good walking around because I can see what's on the side of the road much clearer than driving around. Well, okay, out in the rain I've found this Philips machine. It looks sort of spiffo. Philips is a good brand as far as I knew. Interesting that it's still got its cord here. The copper people haven't come along and snipped it away. It's one of those machines that has a bag, I believe, full of junk in there. Quite often looking at the head will tell you a little bit about how much the vacuum cleaner has been used. Looks like it's had a fair bit of use. And the other very curious aspect to this vacuum cleaner is where it's made. So hopefully that's its model number, and it says made in Holland. But for me, the place to look on these vacuum cleaners to tell you what's been happening is you look at the after motor filter, and that looks pretty scrunched up and dirty, and that's telling me that a lot of the dirt has passed through from the bag and gone through the motor into this final filter. That's one of the problems with these sorts of machines. But from what I understand, Philips is a pretty good name. I've had some Philips stuff in the past, especially TVs, and they've always been excellent. Well, it wouldn't be one of these videos without some sort of Thomas the Tank find. It looks like one of those etch-a-sketch sort of things. I can see Thomas up there, and I can see Percy, and it looks like there's a pen here, and you can come along and you know, write your name. It's sort of weird, the wheels look like they used to be here, but the wheel sections actually come off really easily. Mind you, those wheels may have had another thing to do with this place, I'm not sure. Well, on another very wet rubbish pile, I have found a vacuum cleaner, and quite curiously, it is a Miele. I'm very surprised to see that brand out in the rubbish pit. Well, that's the info underneath this cleaner. Interestingly, it is made in Germany. And to be quite honest with you, this cleaner doesn't look like it's done that much work. Let's see if I can open it up here. Being klutzy clots. Definitely take 2 on trying to get it open. That's a bag cleaner. It looks very clean to me. That's interesting, isn't it? Very interesting, and also that filter there, although I'm probably looking at the back side of it, looks clean as well. I'll just open up the grill there and look at the other side of that filter. Oh no, look at that. It's all grubby. Once again, that's the dirt, which is sort of, well, I suppose it's gone through the motor there, hasn't it? A lot of people have said to me that these cleaners are as good as Dyson vacuum cleaners. Do you own a Miele? I'd love to know about that. There's the head also here, and like I keep saying, the head often talks about how much use this cleaner has had, although this is all muddy and wet. It's not going to be talking much to me in that condition. Nevertheless, quite a curious find. Quite an interesting selection of controls here. Yeah, Reminds me of driving a car. The Miele's are nice, but it's the Dyson that I'm after. I think the trick to finding the good brands is to walk around the ritzy part of town. I'm in the area where I call the wealthy people live. I live up the other end where the poor people live. But you'll find where the wealthy people live, you get the good brand names. That's why I'm hoping to find a Dyson here. Oh yeah, it's another pile of rubbish. It's another vacuum cleaner. 'Tis the season to throw vacuum cleaners out. I think, because my mum's had one of these, I think it's Electrolux, this one. It's an old Electrolux. I hope. Yep, there it is there. Great ants all over it. Oh my god, I'm not touching this one. There's ants. Big ants are going to bite me bad on this one. There are the ants, they're bull ants. They're going to be angry because I've disturbed them. Yeah. It's interesting looking at Electrolux and seeing this. I'm sort of thinking, you know, the late 70s. I'm also thinking of door-to-door salesmen selling this brand. I'm also thinking that when they were refurbished, they were still very expensive machines. And with the ants in control here, I'm walking away. Oh, how many times you see old office chairs out in the rubbish pile, but it's not often you see an aircraft carrier. Ooh, yeah. I think they used to be like a $20 toy in Kmart. I know my son had one of those and we had it for a little while and then it ended up down in the charity shop. And from memory, they don't float. Oh yeah, how about this for an interesting find on my walk? Do you know what that one is? That's a cicada before it's come out of its shell. It's probably giving away the time of year that I'm walking around. It's interesting, this year there's been very few cicadas. Last year was a very peakish year with cicadas. Very hard to find cicadas this year, but there's one that I've stumbled across, which tonight will grow its wings and be a beautiful thing in the morning. And I better help he or she along. There you go, the heartache of finding a tree is now over. Oh boy, this is a freakish pile of rubbish. Just listen carefully, I can hear some sort of toy or something in here making a noise. Can you hear that? I wonder what's causing that. Oh yeah, this is a very scary pile of rubbish here. Whoa! Clowns in the rubbish pile. All sorts of old things in there. Very interesting. Oh, and a very creepy doll. Wah! Very scary stuff indeed. I'm getting away from that pile really fast. Well, lightning does strike twice. It's another one of those Philips turbo ones. Don't really have to go through this one again. It's got a bag in there. And look at the mess of the dust which is here. Very messy. And it's interesting, this one and the other one did as well, though it didn't show it has all its accessories, which is sort of cool and funky. And there's info on this one, made in Holland. Now, it's sort of funny, I thought Holland was where clogs were made. I didn't know vacuum cleaners came from there. And another pile of rubbish. I've found this vacuum cleaner here. It looks fairly new. It looks, you know, barely used. I think it's just a generic one. That's what it says underneath. Homemaker. Yeah, made in China. What's typical about these cheap and nasty ones is they've got really poor accessories and stuff, hoses. And if I look in here, is it a bagged one? Yes. I mean, ones like this are just nothing but trouble. I mean, look at all the gunk in there. Nothing but trouble. And I do wonder what people purchase once they get rid of these. Well, I better leave this video off here. The weather's got worse, it's raining, and someone came running out of the house and said, "Hey, what are you taking all this video of the rubbish piles for and vacuum cleaners?" And in the end I sort of said the truth, because I thought, well, if I start lying, it's going to get me into a whole bunch of trouble, as it did with Gloria Choo Choo. And anyway, I showed the person a bit of video and they started to get half interested about what I was doing. They said, "Why are you taking all this video of vacuum cleaners?" And I said, "Hey, I've got a strong curiosity about what people throw out, especially when it comes to vacuum cleaners." And that person said back to me, "That's really weird." And I thought, yep, that's great, because that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Anyway, I hope you've learned something in this video. I wonder what the people are going to purchase after they've thrown out what we've seen on the rubbish piles. They've either gone out and bought some cheap and nasty thing, which is like 50 bucks here in Australia, or they've gone out and bought something really nice, which is going to be worth, you know, up over 500 bucks. Not going to say a brand name. And I forgot to say, this video is very Aussie 50 style. Sorry, Aussie. Anyway, I better leave this video here. Thanks for watching and bye for now. And it's still raining. But do I look worried? No. Well, I am a very curious person, and I thought, well, the next day I'll go back out and pick up that Miele machine, the one made in Germany. I thought I might just open it up and see what goes on inside. But as you'll see, disappointment awaited me, but there was a far grander prize on offering. Well, this is a bit of a pickup to the vacuum cleaner retrieval video I was doing when I was doing my walk. I actually came back to try and get that Miele. The machine is gone, but the head is still down there. And that's the problem with walking around. Sure, you can see stuff better in the piles, but I've got no way of actually taking it home. Well, sure, I'm a bit disappointed the Miele is gone, but in driving out here, guess what I found? I've grabbed it, and I'll go and recreate me finding it again. It's a vacuum cleaner that I'm after. Now I've got to do a recreation here. I actually grabbed this before, but there are people going around and grabbing anything that looks half interesting. And that's what I found. You know the number of that one? Who knows their Dysons out there? This is the one I'm after. This is definitely the one I'm after. It is a DC07. Well, for me, this is an important find. This is a very important chunk of the Dyson history, because this is when Dysons became good. This is when the cyclonic action came into their design. This is the thing that everyone wants to have, but they can't copy it. This machine has still got its attachment pieces. I think it actually had a chat to the gentleman. It had only just been put out in the rubbish pile. He said he had this piece replaced. This is a replacement piece. I think he said he had it for 10 years. And guess what? He's bought another Dyson, which is sort of curious to know. And the funny thing is, I think he had a bit of an English accent from what I could hear. There is a serial number on this Dyson. I can't tell the year from looking at that. I'm sure the audience will be able to tell me. And the owner did say he had it for 10 years, so that would take it back to basically 2004, because it's 2014 now. He said it had a lot of use. He said it had been a very good vacuum cleaner, but unfortunately it was time to buy another one. Well, I bet you back in the day, 10 years ago, this would not have been a cheap machine. You rarely ever see these out in the rubbish piles. I'm very, very lucky to have found this one. Seeing these colours has thrown me a bit. I was expecting to see yellow. I don't know what the turquoise and purple means. I'm sure someone out there in Dyson history land is going to inform me. I was missing its power cable there. It's going to need that put on. I better put this back into the car, and I'll have to speak about it in another video because this one's become too long. But I've got the Dyson I'm after. That is the DC07. Yeah. Well, of course, I'm disappointed I missed out on picking up that Miele. I was actually very curious about the Miele. Often people speak about Miele as being very good. It's one of the high-end brands in Australia. They're expensive vacuum cleaners, Miele's, but so is Dyson. It's really important that I got a DC07 because I want to investigate this vacuum cleaner. It was really great. Well, very lucky that I picked this up because only just been put out in the rubbish piles. I got to chat to the owner, got a bit of a brief talk about its 10-year history with him, and that was important to know. It's one thing about just picking something up off the rubbish pile. It's another thing to hear a bit of the history of the product. DC07 was when the Dyson goodness really kicked in. That's when it started to kick for them. I think my saying is that, you know, often you don't see Dysons on the rubbish piles, you don't see Apple computers. I rarely ever see an Apple computer out in the rubbish piles. Now, is this sort of saying to me the brand penetration of Dyson and Apple is very low in Australia? Thinking back, you know, you don't throw things out straight away. You wait 5-10 years and you start to see things on the rubbish pile. Has me thinking, but it's very rare. It's I'm thinking maybe 1 in 40, maybe 1 in 50 vacuum cleaners out on the side of the road is a Dyson. Very hard to find, and you've got to be lucky as well, because sometimes I'm going to miss out because people would have come in and got one before I found it. That's the other thing to equate in all this. Well, sorry, it's a double ending on this video. You hate double endings, don't you? I hate them as well. And there's all cars whizzing by here. I better leave this one. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.